Yeah, my name is Chandu. I have total 12 years of experience in DevOps and cloud related activities. In today's class, we are going to discuss about like what is the purpose of the DevOps and what kind of role we need to perform in a software industry. What are the day-to-day activities you are going to perform, and how is the career growth in DevOps? Why every company is trying to adopt DevOps technology. So we'll see some basic understanding of DevOps today, and then we'll see in detail in the regular classes. The name itself it is indicating DevOps means that development plus operations. DevOps stands for development plus operations. That means you are taking care of operations of the development team. In a software industry, as you know, you have some roles like developers, testers, right? DB admin, and then Linux admin, team lead, project manager, product owner, business analyst. Like that, we do have a different kinds of roles in software industry. But where DevOps comes into the picture, what kind of role he is going to perform if we are a part of DevOps team. Suppose let us assume that we are working for an application that is called IRCTC. This is the application we are going to work on. In order to implement source code for this application, we require developers. Developer's responsibility is to write down the source code for an application, right? Java code. But here have a question. Which language we need to use to implement IRCTC? That is going to decide by your product owner or your business analyst or your technical architect. You don't need to bother which language need to use at all. That are going to be decided by the top level management. Developer's responsibility is just to write down the source code like Java code for the IRCTC application. Once they write down the Java code, suppose let us assume that three developers are working on. Everyone has created some 10 files. Developer 1 has created 10 files. Total 30 files they have created. First day, developer 1 has created 10 files. Developer 1, 10 files has created. Developer 2 has created some 10 files on the first day. And developer 3 has created some 10 files on first day. After that, what they want to do is they want to create a package and they need to hand it over to the testing team. We need to send these files to the testing team so that they can start testing of an application. Keep in mind they will not test source code of an application, they will test functionality of an application. Okay, they will not test the source code because testers doesn't know Java language. Only developers knows Java language. So they write down some 30 files on the first day. Developer 1 has created 10 files, developer 2 has created 10 files, developer 3 has created 10 files. Now they want to share these 30 files to the testing team. How they will send these 30 files to the testing team? There are some possible ways. Either through email, they can send the files to the testing team, or in the shared location, as simple as like a Google Drive. There are some approaches in order to send the files from the dev team to the testing team. I will ask my developer state that boss send the files through email or to the shared location so that testing team can take the files from there. But for classroom purpose, we are talking about three developers. But in real time, suppose if we have some 50 developers, can you ask them on very frequent basis state that boss send the files or put the files in the shared location? No, we can't ask like that. And that too, suppose if you placed in the shared location, testing team can able to access that shared location, but we don't have a full-fledged control on the shared location. Means that who created that file, we don't know. At what time he created the file, we don't know. Which line he modified, you don't know. Which file he deleted. Suppose today we have 30 files. Out of 30, developer 1 has created 3 files. If we deleted three files, are you in a position to know that? No. Means you don't have a proper track if you go with the shared location. We don't know when the file was deleted. We don't know which file modified. You don't know which content modified. You don't know for which purpose it was modified. You don't know which file was deleted and for which purpose it was deleted. We don't have answer for so many questions. In order to eliminate that approach, we do have a tool that is called version control tool. It's called version control. What are the version control tools are available in the market? SVN kit like this. We have 25 plus version control tools are available in the market. But now the question is which one need to be used? Nowadays every company is trying to use Git. Why not SVN? Why not CVS? Why not Clearcase? Why not PVCS? Why not TFS? That we are going to discuss in detail in our regular classes. What are the benefits you will get if you go with a Git? What is the disadvantage you have with CVS or SVN or Clearcase? That we'll discuss later. What is the purpose of this version control? The purpose of the version control is used to store the source code of the application. That means you are the admin for this version control tool. You will install this Git in one Linux server. That means you need to take a Linux server. How will you take a Linux server? Either it could be an on-premisized environment. That means, suppose if you're working for IBM, if you want a server, IBM itself they maintain a servers. You can take from them, or else you can take from any one of the cloud provider based on your company. If they have an access on Azure or AWS or GCP, Google Cloud Platform, take the credentials and then take the server from them. And in that particular server, you need to install this version control. That means you are the admin for the version control.
Hello, sorry to interrupt. We're not able to see the full screen you're sharing.
Oh, share something else. Entire screen. Can you able to see now my notepad?
No, uh, it's just a small screen coming in the center. I mean, in this app, maybe there's a problem. We're not
Now,
able to see
now,
the.
now
No, it's the same.
I'm able to see it.
You're able
you are
to
able
see.
to see properly. Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to see. Settings is there, na?
Is it settings? Okay.
Yeah,
What
now
setting
notepad
is?
is on.
Right. So this is the version control tool. You are the admin for this version control tool. You are installing the version control tool. Can you mute yourself, please? Yeah. You are the admin for the version control tool. You will given access to the development team. State that, boss, whenever you are done with your work, upload the code into the version control tool. Every company will follow the same procedure, but only the difference is some companies they will use SVN, some companies they might use Git, some companies they might use CVS. That is the only difference. But storing the source code, definitely they will go with the version control tool only. But who is the owner of the version control tool? Who will install it? Who will maintain it? If something goes wrong, who will rectify it? DevOps. This is our first responsibility. We can't ask developer state that, boss, go and install SVN or Git. No. You are the admin. Take any one of the Linux server, install the version control tool, and maintain the version control. You are the admin for the version control tool. Suppose let us, yeah, can you mute yourself, please? Somebody is talking. Yeah. Let us assume that in the version control tool, they uploaded 30 files. Our ultimate goal is you want to send these 30 files to the testing team. Why? Because they need to test the functionality of an application. What is meant by functionality? Suppose let us assume that once I create as a package, once I did a deployment, the application can be reached at browser. can access the URL from the browser www.irctc.com. You can able to see the page. What is meant by functionality? Suppose this time you will not give username and password. You simply click on login. Then the expected result is please enter username and password. That I will call it as one scenario. That I will call it as a functionality. Next time, tester what he will do? He will give only username, but he will not give the password. He will simply click on sign in. Then it should get an error message that please enter the password. That I am going to call it as one more functionality. That I am going to call it as one more scenario. Those kind of testing can be done by the testing team. When they will do the test? Whenever URL is accessible. When the URL comes? When you do the deployment. Who will take care of the deployment? DevOps engineer will take care of the deployment. How? Download the files from the version control tool whenever the development activity is completed. What are the activities you will do? Download files from, after that compiles files, after that create a package. Okay, create a package nothing man. Either it could be a war file, either it could be a jar file, or it could be a tar file like that. Who is going to decide which package need to be created? That is our topmost management. You don't need to worry. Your application architect is going to decide it. Okay, as a DevOps engineer, once development team has uploaded the files, these 30 files to the Git, they will drop an email to us, to the development team, DevOps team. State that was go on create a build. Go on create a build is nothing but downloading the files, compiling the files, creating as a package. Who will take care of this activity? Developer, DevOps engineer need to take care of this activity. But downloading the files from a Git, compiling the files, creating a package, this is all manual procedure. I don't want to do it manually. I want to automate the process. For that, we do have one more tool that is called build tool. What are the build tools are available in the market? And is a one tool. Maven, Rel, Enant. These are all build tools are available in the market. And Maven Gradle is just as simple as like a XML tags only. As simple as like XML tags only. There you are going to write down the script. Suppose if you go with and you are going to write down a file name called build.xml file. In this file, you are going to put the instructions to download the files, to compile the files, to create a package. Suppose if you are using Maven, you are going to write down the file called form.xml file. Form.xml file. Whenever you got a build request, don't download files, don't compile the files, don't create a package. But what should I do? Simply call pom.xml file. Wherever you have write down this pom.xml file, just go and call it. When you call pom.xml file, it will do download the files, it will do compile files, it will do create a package. These are all three activities are going to be handled by the build tool itself. Your responsibility is whenever you got a request, simply go and call build.xml file in case of and go with pom.xml file in case of Maven. But here I have a question. When you will get a build request that you can't predict. Maybe today morning 11 o'clock they can send us because by the time they are done with their work, they can send it. Whenever you got a build request, you will simply call your build.xml file, that's all, and you will sit idle till it gets complete. In interview, they will ask this question. Suppose if I want to test you whether you are a real-time candidate or a fake candidate, I will ask you the question that what is the time of, what is the duration of your build, that I can ask you, because the real-time candidate only knows about it, but the outside people they don't know. They will ask a question like, what is your build duration? In some companies, based on the application, it could be a 5 minute, it could be a 1 hour also. Till it gets complete, you are just going to wait. But that's all. What is the output of the build tool? You will get a package because you already written the script to create a var or a jar or a tar. Let us assume that you write down a script to create a war room. Okay, you will call simply permanent XML file and you will sit idle for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and at the end you will get a war file. That war file you should put it in any one of the application server. That I am going to call it as a deployment. Deployment is nothing but putting your war file in the application server. What are the application servers are available in the market? Tomcat is the one, WebLogic, WebSphere. Like this, we do have applications. So you're just going to put your WAR file into Tomcat. You can simply access the URL. Wherever you have Tomcat, that server IP address colon 8080, so that you can able to see the application. And you will give that URL to the testing team so that they can start testing of an application. That's all. So building you are taking care of it. Deployment you are taking care of it. Build and deployment you are taking care of it. Building a jar file you are taking care of it. Building a var file you are taking care of it. Deploying into application server you are taking care of it. Writing down the build XML file you are taking care of it. Configuring Tomcat you are taking care of it. Putting the var file into the Tomcat you are taking care of it. Build and deployment, both the activities you are taking care of it. There is one more terminology in real time you are going to use, that is called continuous integration and continuous deployment. CI/CD pipeline. If you go for any interview, they will ask first question: do you know CI/CD pipeline? That I will discuss in detail in our classes, because you need to have some habitat to use these git commands and the maven commands. Then you can learn it. Let us assume that you got a build request today at 5:30. So you are in the office. You just log into the server wherever you install build tool, wherever you have write down the script, and then you will simply call your founded XML file, and you will sit ideal, because your build duration is 45 minutes, because your application have a lot of so many dependencies that need to be downloaded. Those need to be compiled, create a package, so it will take some 40 minutes. I assume that you are getting a build request at 6 o'clock, suppose. So by 6:40 the build gets completed, and then you just take the var file and then put it into the Tomcat, and then share the URL of the Tomcat to the testing team so that they can start testing. But every day you are getting a build request at 6:30. When you get a build request at 6:30, you are sitting in the ideal, you are sitting in the office just to call your format XML file, and you are sitting in the ideal for 40 minutes or 45 minutes because it should get completed. After that, you are doing the deployment and you are leaving the office. Every day the process is continuing, but you can't complain or you can't ask manager state that, boss, can you request us to send the build request by 8:30, sorry, by 4:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No, they should not ask like that. For classroom I'm talking about 3 developers, but in real time maybe you are going to have some 50 developers, right? So somebody need to take care of calling the format XML file without my presence. Then there is a tool that is called continuous integration tool. Continuous integration tool. The continuous integration tools are available in the market. That is called Jenkins. Just configure the activity in the Jenkins. State that, give you the location of format XML, set the time also, so that it take care of it. You no need to sit in the office. Suppose if you set the time, like by 9 o'clock it should go and trigger format XML file. It will take care of it. Your responsibility, just put the configurations in the Jenkins, because Jenkins is a continuous integration tool. It is going to help you. If Jenkins is not there, you need to be in the office, you need to call format XML file, you need to sit ideal to get it complete, and then you are doing the deployment and you are sharing the URL to the testing tool, and then you are leaving the office. It is not an easy process. I want to automate. Which tool is going to helpful here? Jenkins. Keep in mind, Jenkins was completely developed in Java. It is as simple as like an Android app. How much efficient you are going to use it, that way it is going to solve so many problems in the process of DevOps. There are so many plugins are available in Jenkins. Based on your requirement, you need to install respective plugin. Very, very simple graphical user interface. But here, Jenkins has a declarative as well. You can launch Jenkins graphical user interface. You can see Jenkins dashboard and you can set the configuration. But next alternative approach is, instead of checking everything on the browser, I want to do through the script that is called pipeline script. That is called Jenkins pipeline. An interview, if you go for an interview, they will ask you, did you write down any Jenkins pipeline so far? Graphical user interface you want to eliminate. You want to go with a scripting mode. That I'm going to call it as CI/CD pipeline. Okay. So Jenkins is helping you not to sit in the ideal in the office in the late nights. So you are going to put the configuration. So what Jenkins will do, by suppose if you set the time at 9 p.m. At 9 p.m. it go on call from an XML file because you already gave the location. So it will do the build process. Once it has a var file, it will check where it has a tomcat and all, and then it will put that file in the tomcat. That means deployment is also taken care by the Jenkins. After that, suppose if you want to receive any notification, that means you want to receive an email notification. That configurations also can made in the Jenkins. You do have a number of options in the Jenkins. Suppose if you want to test the quality of your code, there are some tools in the market to test the quality of your code. Quality of your code means that, suppose if you create some 10 variables in the Java file, out of 10 variables you are using only 2. You are not using remaining 8. That means I can say that you are not a proficient developer. You are not at all. Okay. If I want to catch up those kind of findings, I should have a tool to check my source code. That is called Sonar. They are going to check the quality of the code. Sonar for check quality of the code. Most preferably bank related projects, they will use this one. Check quality of code. Because if some passwords you are updated in the Java file and you are sending the same way to the customers, there is a problem. Security breach. So checking the quality of the code, like, would you have a tool that is called Sonar? Sonar need to be integrated with the Jenkins. Once build is get ready, it will test how many lines of code is there, any vulnerabilities, any issues, any bugs in that source code. That way, Sonar are going to help to us to check the quality of the code by using Sonar. Let us assume that today you got one var file because you did a build and you got a var file. Tomorrow also you did a build. Day after tomorrow also you are going to do a build. That means 3 var files are going to be generated. If suppose if I trigger again it will generate a var file to us. That is the fourth one. But where should I store? These are all the files. Because later if I want to do some kind of deployment again, if it needed, I need to have a var file to do it a deployment manually. Right? Some point of time if I want to check something, I want to deploy a previous var file. But where you are storing the var files? There is a tool to store the var files that is called Nexus. Nexus is used to store the var file of an application. That's all. Either it could be tar or var or dot, anything. Anything can be stored in the Nexus. Nexus is a repository management tool. It will store the build output of the var file that is going to be stored in the Nexus. But here, when you are dealing with the Jenkins, they give so many plugins to us. But still, one of the requirement is not satisfying in the Jenkins because Jenkins was not only implemented for you, right? Jenkins is not only implemented for you. Jenkins was implemented to so many companies. They didn't, implement it only for your requirements. In that case, suppose if you want to customize it, if you want to customize some of the options, you need any one of the scripting language. Either it could be Shell or Perl or Python. That's your call. Okay, that you are using for your own purpose. Customer or client or end user will not at all bother which language, which scripting language you are using to customize the options of the Jenkins. Not only the Jenkins, I'm just giving one example, that's all. So you need to learn any one of the scripting language. Either it could be Shell and then Python. Python is most powerful nowadays because it has inbuilt so many functions and methods. That's the reason we should have Python or Shell, one scripting language. And then you need one cloud technology that is called AWS. What is the purpose of the cloud? What is meant by cloud? Earlier days, suppose if I am the owner of TCS, what should I do is I'm going to maintain some 50 servers to test our applications and all. But where you will store these things? In our office premises only. We will take one separate room for it. That room I'm going to call it as a data center. There I'm going to maintain so many CPUs which are required for me to test my application. But later realized that instead of purchasing the servers and instead of putting it in our own on-premisized environment, let's give this headache to somebody else like Amazon or Microsoft or Google. What they will do is they will maintain so many servers in so many regions. In Canada, they will maintain. In USA, they will maintain. In Europe, they will maintain. They will maintain so many servers. Whenever you need any one of the server, simply put a request to AWS so that they will give one server to you. But here the question is, why we need to go in that mode? Because if you are maintaining on-premises environment, you need to take care of the backups. You need to take care of the security. You need to take care of budgets to buy all the servers. These many things are going to consider. But if you go with AWS, it is as simple as like a rent basis. Nowadays, suppose if you want to go for marriage, you are simply giving complete contract to somebody else. They are taking care of food, they are taking care of decoration, they are taking care of photography, everything they are taking care of it. You are not dealing with that. It is not something like you are not going to buy cameras, you are not going to buy remaining things, right? Here, somebody already have it. You are just going to make use on the rent basis. If I need a server to test my application, maybe it is just required only for 30 days. For 30 days, I can't buy the server because I don't have a money. Instead of that, what I can do, I can take the server from AWS and I can make use only for 30 days and I can return back to them. I will just pay the amount for which I used. That's all. If I used only for 5 minutes, I am going to pay only for 5 minutes. That's all. I don't need to purchase separately. That is a benefit you will go with if you go with AWS. In AWS, we are going to touch base some of the services which are required for a DevOps. AWS itself, it is a vast syllabus. You can learn AWS and you can get the job in AWS itself. But as a DevOps engineer, how many services are required? Those only I'm going to cover in AWS. But keep in mind, I'm not going to touch base in detail of AWS. Just I'm going to touch base the concepts which are required for the DevOps. That's all. Apart from this, we are going to learn containerization platforms like Docker and Kubernetes. These are all containerization platforms, Docker and Kubernetes. I will give it one real-time example. I will show you the problems and then how it was resolved by using container platforms like Docker and Kubernetes. I will explain it later. Apart from this, we are going to learn one more configuration management tool that is called Ansible. Is the purpose of the Ansible, how to write down the playbooks, how to write down the YAML script. It is very simple configuration management tool available in the market. We do have 25 plus configuration management tools are available. Puppet, Chef, Salt Stack like that. But we are preferring Ansible because it has its own advantage. What are the advantages and all that we are going to discuss in detail in classes. Apart from this, if time permits, I can explain you Azure DevOps as well. But this is if time permits. And also we are going to cover Terraform. What is the purpose of the Terraform? Why we need to use and all those things that we are going to discuss in our classes. Apart from this, I am going to give brief Briefing of Jira. Jira is a bug tracking tool. If manager want to assign some task to you, he will raise a ticket in Jira and he will give the ticket to you. You work on it, put your comments against to that particular ticket and close it if it was completed. This track is going to be maintained by the manager for your tasks. And we do have Scrum approach and Waterfall approach. I will explain that as well. On daily basis, what are the activities we are going to perform? Daily basis, you are going to have a call. In that call, what they are going to ask us and what you need to tell, all those things I will explain in our classes. Did I missed anything? No. Most probably, I'm going to cover these are all the topics in 45 days, every day 1 hour. That means total 45 hours I can cover. 45 days. Okay. Now you can ask the questions if you have any. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, Azure DevOps and Jira both are same, no? Test management
Azure
tools.
DevOps and Jira, no. Azure DevOps is something completely different that I will explain you later because at this moment you can't understand. Once you have some knowledge on DevOps, then you can understand about Azure DevOps. Jira is completely ticketing tool. That's all. Any other
Okay,
questions?
sir.
Any questions?
So this training is on DevOps or is it on AWS
AWS
cloud
and
computing?
DevOps. AWS and DevOps.
So are you going to cover AWS concepts or
Yes, yes,
or
yes. AWS,
along with DevOps
AWS.
tools, right?
Yes, yes. AWS services we are going to cover.
Okay. So when you say services, are you going to talk about in details of those services? How
Yes,
to
yes, yes, yes.
deploy?
Yes, yes, yes. I will show you.
So with the DevOps, are you going to cover like all the DevOps tools for the use for the DevOps and how to use them?
Yeah. We are going to take Linux server and you are going to show you the installation of these softwares and I will show you how to execute the things, how to do the deployments, how to install Jenkins, how to configure things, everything we will show it in practical.
Okay.
Any more questions, guys?
So in terms of AWS, are we going to cover like architect level or professional
No, no,
level?
no, no, no. It is something which is required for the DevOps. That's all. If
Okay,
you want to go with architect level or a solution architect level, then you need to take a complete course of AWS. Then Jenkins is not involved, Python is not involved, Terraform is not involved, Ansible is not involved, Build tool is not involved, version control tool is not involved. If you go with completely only AWS,
okay.
So with the AWS, are you going to show like how to create those instances, have
yes, yes,
compute? How
yes,
about the
yes. We are going to
networking?
show. I will show everything like how to take
No.
the servers, how to install the softwares, everything. We'll show it in
How
AWS
about
only.
the load balancers and creating the load balancers and creating the networks and all?
I will repeat. I am telling again that I will show how to create load balancer and I will deploy one sample application and I will show how the traffic is traveling between two servers and I will show how to create auto scale and I will show if any one of the server is down how automatically the server is coming up online. Everything that I'm going to show it in practical.
And this is going to be on AWS cloud. You're going to train on
Yes,
AWS cloud,
AWS cloud. Yes,
and we can get a train like we can get a what do you we can create a training account on it, right? Which is free for our training
yes,
purpose.
yes, yes.
Okay.
More questions, guys? Okay.
Hi Chandu. Like
Yeah. Hi.
total object wise, we are taking like 45 days.
Yeah.
So, for example, Linux, how many days? Like how you can you explain me?
Yeah,
How many
most
days
probably
you can?
Linux basics. I'm going to take 2 days of session. Like I will show you first initially how to take the server from AWS, and then we'll go with the Linux basic commands, and then Git, and then Jenkins. That way we are good to go. Yeah. Any more questions?
So if we want to do it like a fast pace instead of 45 days, is it a
No, I
fast
don't
paced
have
course
that
also?
plan. You can check with the team. There are other trainers. Maybe you can check with the team.
So after having this training, what kind of jobs we can apply?
DevOps jobs you can apply.
Not for the AWS admins or AWS
No, no,
architects,
no,
right?
no, no. That is completely different course, as I told.
So the DevOps tool we are learning, are they going to work on Azure or Oracle Cloud, or is it specific to AWS?
No, the training name itself it is indicating it is DevOps with AWS.
No, I understand that, but let's say the Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, they all work with all kind of clouds, right?
Yeah. It is as simple as like taking the server. From where you are taking, that's your choice. Either you can take from Azure or from Google Cloud or from AWS. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys. If you have any questions, you can check with the team so that they can clarify it. Thank you guys for joining the session.